The formality of Barack Obama being named the Democrats' candidate for re-election in November is out of the way. On the closing day of the party's national convention, the US president urged voters to help him carry on the changes he began nearly 4 years ago. Obama said the decisions ahead for Washington will affect the lives of Americans for decades. He also hit back at his opponent Mitt Romney, dubbing the Republican a foreign policy rookie for naming Russia America's #1 enemy. Romney responded by accusing Obama of offering no new policies and leaving old promises unkept. The two candidates, currently tied in the polls, will now campaign ahead of November's vote. Well, let's go live now to the US Capitol for reaction from ex-Foreign Service officer George Kenney. George, many say, of course, Obama inherited Bush's foreign policy and has continued to pursue much of that policy. Do you see any change if he were to get back into power?
If Obama were to be reelected, would he do something different? No.
Yeah.
We have a problem in that both parties won't really say what they're going to do when they win, if they win. But we know that the Democrats can't do very much because the Republicans would obstruct them, and we know that the Republicans would do terrible things because the Democrats wouldn't oppose them. So we have a sort of a Hobson's choice where the Republicans are clearly worse, but both parties are establishment parties that don't really want to change the status quo very much, whether in foreign policy or in domestic policy. And to put it bluntly, the American oligarchs are going to win.
Well, let's talk about those terrible things that the Republicans could do. Mitt Romney has threatened to unleash a trade war on China, bomb Iran if he comes to power. He's already threatened Russia by saying he's #1 foreign enemy. Really, would all that actually happen if he were to come to power?
I don't know about all that, but I think that there would be a significantly increased chance of a new war in the Middle East, perhaps with Iran, certainly intervention in Syria of some sort, greater tensions around the world, worse relations with Moscow, much worse relations with Beijing. So Romney, as he proved in London at the Olympics, really doesn't know the first thing about diplomacy. He isn't really that interested in it, but would like to be a cowboy and basically would like to preserve the American military-industrial complex and grow it as much as he could. So he's a danger. Obama is a danger in a different sense, because Obama has, as you pointed out quite correctly, Obama has continued the Bush policies, made them worse. He's pursued drone warfare, which annoys people, seriously alienates people around the world. He's pursued policies that are contrary to civil rights. Take, for example, Bradley Manning, or the American pursuit of Julian Assange. We've pushed on the Chinese in ways that they clearly don't like, as your previous piece alluded to. So nobody should expect that with either a Republican or a Democratic win, things will improve very much. I think the best that you can say is that in looking at this election, the main player in Washington at the moment is probably the Federal Reserve, and they'll probably step in and provide some stimulus. So the country as a whole will keep above water a little bit, but in the longer run, I'm not optimistic. I think that if I could continue for just 1 second, if Mr. Obama were elected, we can expect the Republicans to obstruct him everywhere, and that could set up a situation where Mr. Obama has a choice. Should he roll over the Republicans or be crushed and surrender policy to them? And I think that will be a very interesting development if it happens. In the debt ceiling, for example, if the Republicans say, no, we can't have an increase in the debt ceiling without sweeping cuts in social programs, Mr. Obama will have a choice. And if he goes the route of unilaterally increasing the debt without congressional approval, then we'll have essentially a constitutional crisis.
Would the Republicans, you mentioned Syria a little earlier, would the Republicans obstruct Obama over the handling of Syria? We're hearing reports that US agents are going to the Turkish border to advise and assist the anti-Assad forces, and some are saying that once this election is over, it could actually untie Washington's hands in dealing with Syria. Could we see the US really getting directly involved there if Obama is elected again?
Well, I think so. It's hard to judge the political aspects of this, but to me, increasingly, it seems that the Syrian situation has become a bureaucratic problem, if you will. The SIS, the CIA, everybody with a pulse who works in that kind of world wants to be involved in Syria. And at this point, there are so many resources focused on the place, it would be a miracle if there weren't some kind of Western intervention.
Thank you so much. Live from the U.S. Capitol, ex-Foreign Service Officer George Kenney.
Thank you.